Well, thank you for joining us yet again. If you just did, you're watching Smart 24 TV, and this is SMB Smart Means Business. And we are still speaking about embracing about digitalization and ICT. But that has come along with a lot of challenges. Earlier on, we talked about them. The public has been concerned about it, especially on taxation. And surely, let us have a look on how tax reduction on ICT devices is yet to effectively implement or also impact digitalization and embracement across the country.
Digital broadcasting migration is a process by which broadcasting services offered on analog networks are transferred to digital networks. In 2015, Uganda Communications Commission effected the switch off of analog TV transmission in line with the June 17th deadline set by the International Telecommunications Union for African countries to migrate to digital broadcasting. The policy approved by Parliament of Uganda in 2011 was meant to improve access to quality broadcasting services across the country and to promote local content development, like officials said. But the transition is also limiting access to information for many. According to the Minister of State in charge of ICT and national guidance, many Ugandans have less accessibility to quality ICT devices like smartphones, something that hinders the digitalization of the country. He underscored the need to reduce taxes on such items. He says that even during COVID-19 lockdown, children could not execute their studies through Zoom.
But two, the biggest problem which we experienced during COVID are the devices. Because even when classes were going on Zoom, some on TV, some on radios, the children didn't have the devices to use. That's why at one time the president said, but can't we buy radios? But now now that's the biggest problem. Now what we are trying to see, even yesterday we met our ICT committee, and we are trying to see how can each and every person get a device, at least which can access internet, which can access Zoom.
But yet we have a lot of services that are extending in the market that are running on those smartphones. So it's in our interest to actually drive that uptake by also looking into the market and the nature of business. There's a lot of business that's running on the mobile phone these days. Young people are making money on things like TikTok. And so to digitalize the economy and enable everyone to carry a smart device in their pocket is in the interest of us at URA.
The Minister of Finance is the implementer of these policies, but we are happy to go with such a proposal because you will note that we are really digitalizing the entire tax process through the introduction of the tax stamps, electronic fiscal receipting. We want everyone to be digitally literate, to be able to use that digital gadget to pay tax, to facilitate tax compliance. And specifically, we are looking at simplifying the tax systems. Simplifying the tax systems to the extent that even a semi-literate taxpayer is able to do the return themselves.
When Uganda introduced a tax on social media use in 2018, the government hoped the new source of revenue would help widen the country's tax base. Instead, internet subscription fell drastically and the government did not raise the anticipated revenue as most users turned to virtual private network VPN to access social media platforms.
The way how internet can be cheaper is if more people hook on the internet. But you can't go on the internet with 2G. So that is the biggest problem. But we are also looking at penetration. Right now, we are working on the phase 5 of putting up the NBI, the National Backbone Infrastructure.
The role of URA is really not to formulate policy or come up with tax rates. Yes, we have an input. We advise the Minister of Finance on some of the new taxes. But advice is advice. The minister may take it, may not. And even Parliament, which legislates ultimately and passes law, may take the advice or may not.
But the chairperson of the ICT committee was even saying, but you people, why can't we tell government to buy people phones? You are getting me?
Radios will never get.
No, we can get. We buy people phones and then they hook on internet, because we would get more tax from internet than the phone. Because the internet is used every time you are on the internet.
According to After Access Report 2021, less than half of Ugandans have access to mobile phone, with 71 of these connected using a basic phone. In 2021, the GSMA estimated that Uganda had a smartphone adoption of 16%, markedly lower than 30% average for sub-Saharan Africa. Bedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV.
The customers you serve already have microfinance institutions they belong to, even SACCOs inclusive.
Very well, there you had it about the hopes that will be coming along, about advocating and more that we expect from ICT and digitalization, because in turn we all have to, move towards technology and reap towards moving on better, that is along that lane of technology. Sanko.
So I think we are going to digitize the economy. Most of the countries are digitizing their economy. I've seen Kenya.
But we're already digitalized, not so. We are.
Not fully. When you look at the economy, even the national currency may also have to be part. Because the Central Bank of Kenya last week brought to the public, and he actually opened up to the public to actually give their opinion towards setting up a digital Kenyan shilling. And it's not totally eliminating of the tangible, but then they also want to have a digital currency with them. So that was opened up to the public. Then they will wait for what the people have to say, because this is it's just like an opinion poll. So they want to hear what is the say of the public. Will the people welcome it? So I think this also takes us back to when I said that digitalization of our economy, or digitalization of most of the sectors here, can only be boosted or emphasized if at all the government policies are on point. Now look at the situation like Kenya. It is inclusive of the citizens. So they are opening it up to the people. They want to create a policy that is going to favor not only those that are making these policies, but also the beneficiaries of the policies. So I think even us as Ugandans, if at all we want to fully, here we're now still in a digital migration when it comes to television.
A saying point is when the president, that was 2 years back, was launching our first phone, the success that Ugandans made in regards to our Katochi phone, and it's not yet fully out there really on the market. But if again an opinion was given to the people as an open book and people reacted on
it is on the market because they even export.
We're already exporting. Have
yes,
you interacted with it yet?
Not yet. But when you look at, there is a market, they actually exporting.
Why are you calling it a phone? Correct that song.
No, do you know why I call it? Okay, in a simple dialect, we would say a phone, like our local katoch that we had back then, the kapesa. But when you look at these phones, they have some market in the African country, in the North African countries. So as a way of the fact that some Ugandans were not welcoming the ideas, because most of the Ugandans are always going to throw their negative opinions towards government policies or government initiatives or even things made
sometimes
from
we don't appreciate what we really put our hands on and our own products. It's been quite a challenge in public, public eyes around the country here. But away from that, we're also moving towards what CSOs have to say on what.
And when you look at the ongoing situation in regards to the legal frameworks from investment, the civil society organizations have called for a need to review the investment legal frameworks to prevent the violation in the land-based investments, with the fact that this very year the government says that they're going to be focusing on local investors. Experts do believe that poor enforcement of regulatory frameworks have increased forced evictions plus increasing tension and conflicts amongst most of the investors in Uganda. The alarm was made during the CSOs, that is the civil society organizations, engagement on the state of land rights in the context of Uganda's investment policies and implications on the women's rights. Let's take a look.
Attracting and retaining foreign and domestic investments plays a significant role in responding to the pressing economic and social challenges faced by Uganda as a country and is the primary focus of the government's strategy. During the engagement meeting in the state of land rights in the context of Uganda's investment policies, civil society organization called for a need to review the investment legal frameworks to prevent the violation in the land-based investment.
The issue of investment is not just our own issue alone in Uganda. You know, it's global, and what happens at the global level affects how we handle investment issues here. And by the end of my presentation, we'll be able to find out how we can be able to engage at other levels beyond Uganda to make sure that we have policy space to be able to have a better investment regulatory framework in
Article 237, subsection 1 of the Constitution of Uganda states that land belongs to the citizens of Uganda, and Article 26, subsection 1 protects the right to own property either individually or in an association with others, for instance, groups of people who hold land communally. However, these laws have been for a long time violated by policymakers and some investors.
Please go on Google Maps right now and look at Bugoma. Now, today, and you see what has happened. It's a joke. I don't even know what we're fighting for anymore. We're in court, but I don't know what we're fighting for anymore. Respect. That our people can be shot at and killed and nothing is done. For me, I think there's a lack of respect for the people that own these resources. Remedy. What remedies really exist here? I think right now, Uganda is not doing so badly. We are only 50 years old as a nation. What I mean is we can recover from this.
What is failing to have the capacity to understand the business or commercial intent. And I'm very particular with this word, commercial intent. The moment you see any investor coming to establish something or offer you anything, what you have to understand is their driving factor is the commercial intent.
Services. There are many other services that have been excluded. Recently, we got a catering firm being hired to come and do catering. I say, what madness is this? We have the best food and the best cooks in the world. I will testify. What madness is this? That we're hiring a catering company from that side to come and cook everything oil and gas for food because of our legislation. People are playing around with the legislation. I'm telling you, when they're making this legislation, and I know we're very kind sometimes to the people who give us money because they're foreigners, but we need to remember that some of them have departments that go to Serena and spend nights there when these bills are being argued.
Brenda Akankunda, the program's director, Southern and Eastern African Trade Information and Negotiation Institute, CIATIN, notes that they are running a campaign aiming at ensuring that investments at the national, global and regional levels prioritize economic, social and cultural rights of the host communities before considering profits.
Our belief is that for investments to work, we need to prioritize the rights of the people. Because when you look at most of the regulatory frameworks that we do have, they tend to prioritize the rights of investors, especially the foreign investors, and they leave out the issues of the citizens. So that is why we have this campaign, and we majorly talk about looking at the regulatory frameworks that we have, reviewing them so that they center the rights of the citizens.
Land grabbing is not a new phenomenon. For centuries, communities have been intimidated to abandon or have been forcefully removed from their land. However, we are now witnessing a new aggressive land grabbing driven by high food prices and growing global consumption, with multinational corporations, often in partnership with governments, seizing the land. Bedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV.
And very well, thank you so much for keeping it with us right here, Smart 24 TV. And we are still discussing towards improving our economy, this time through investment. Let's
get this right here. The Article 2371 of the Constitution states that land that belongs to the citizens of Uganda, and Article 261, Article 261 protects the right to own property, either individually. So we have two articles here. So they protect the right to own property either individually or in association with others. For instance, groups of people who hold land communally. So I still look at, however, these laws have been for a long time been violated by policy and some investors. We've seen stories where an investor who believes nti alina sente ngaze ulira naje uo nagamba nze I'm buying you. I'm buying your land. If you fail to accept, after a few days you'll see
your house is being set on fire.
Yet. And then either you lose some of the things on your house, and then you're only left with an option to sell. And once you reach an option of selling,
they're giving you less.
The chances are more likely that you're going to pay less money. Why? Because nomgaga kuja yera gaga maha nani kwa million chikumi ne hoeraga kach I have 50. So those are some of the
those are tactics. Those are tactics actually.
Very deadly tactics, by the way.
They're deadly, but like you said, one meat is one's poison. So where I get an opportunity, sometimes it's a challenge to you.
Sometimes it's just a scheming work from the investors. According to reports, someone realizes that, hey, aganyo kunguza.
But all those are illegal violences that are happening towards rights of the citizens around the country, because the law is clear, like you were telling us earlier, on how about ownership, and also even when you do not own land, but there is a possibility of you wanting to share and actually equally develop others through employment, through skilling up people. Government can always give you land, but you have to be very clear. You have to go to investment authority or ministry of investment to make sure, number one, you have got an aligned program and procedure on what you really want to pursue on that particular land that you want to acquire. And also, what exactly do you want to do with that particular or given land opportunity in case it comes? Because you might go to Sonko here, for example, you could be the minister.
A minister of ICT.
No, minister around investment.
Land land. You see, sometimes I feel like
any of them really could work.
I feel like if they give me this ministry,
you wouldn't want it.
I feel I would do good.
Okay, let's mention which.
If you look investment.
Okay.
ICT.
Okay.
And not health.
Okay, maybe you would be appointed. I pray you'll be appointed in the next Kisanja, probably as one of our ministers. But I was telling and mentioning earlier that before you head to the authority, to make sure that you go and have to pursue maybe what you feel your dream is or what you want to really add on to the people. You must be able to tell and also realize your perspectives, your goals and visions, what you really want. Because at the same time, at some point, like Honorable Evelyn Aniti last week, some weeks back, withdrew the patent rights on the ownership and also towards those who had, gotten some land to make sure they put up something. If you're going to stay idle, if you're not set yet, don't go for it.
And there's also a belief here that land...
Meanwhile, Amriat was telling you that appointments don't just come from heaven.
We need to work for them. I will work for them. So I'll give myself a time frame that it will surely come. But when you look at the land wrangles, I believe, it's just not new to our ears. It has been there since decades of time, whereby even in ancient African communities, one would just be intimidated and then loses the land that you have. If at all a community had the big man or the big boys and they have the energy, they would just go and evict off the weaker ones to just take the land. So here it's just that modern problems always call for modern solutions. That is why it is now more modern here. People are becoming more deadly, using more tactics than the ordinary type, because the other time it could be just grabbing. Here people are grabbing in a more advanced manner. So you just need to know how to play your games right, if at all you don't want to lose your land or to get evicted. Because at a time when people are crying out to government, in most cases government tends to take time to come and work on such solutions and rather such problems in most cases.
Exactly, and also that will bring us to the end of this particular discussion. We're going to take a break, but we will be returning with a topical discussion in regards to sharing expertise on different issues. So make sure you don't miss it out after we return from the break. Rita Caballero at Rita Caballero on social media platforms.
And I'm Jerome Paul Sonko. Jerome Paul Sonko on social media, that is mainly Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Make sure you also be a part of our conversation continuously, driving business around here at Smart 24 TV, at that is YouTube, Twitter, as well as Instagram, and always make sure you part of us in regards to advertisement in case you want any business.
And they should also subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's very, very good for you to get more updates and notifications on a daily of the business stories that we definitely get for you.
Very, and not forgetting to be part of the show every weekday coming on your screen from 7, that is from 7 to 10. SMB, expecting a lot from SMB reports, SMB Insight. We have got commodity and market updates, and also coming with a topical discussion. But not forgetting as well, where we'll be highlighting maybe any breaking news that will be coming out in that meantime.
The show that is soon going to be award-winning in times
but surely we also have repeats during the evening time, East African time. In case you didn't you've not been a part of the morning, you can still review our repeat that plays around the evening from 7 there. Surely be a part of us. Now we take a break. Coming up shortly after the break, we'll be engaging with a guest on towards labor exportation.